What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I want to talk about something that I know is probably going to be controversial, and I don't mean for it to diminish or dismiss any of the other arguments, but I think it's important to recognize the role in which whales play in this ecosystem, because a lot of the criticism that I see is, why is the team only creating things that cater to whales? And the truth of the matter is, it's because the whales are their customers. And any good business is going to create something to the people that are willing to buy them, right? Especially those that are supporting the business. So I'm just going to use the leaderboard for the Rebellion presale, which we're coming up to almost a year at this point now, which is kind of crazy. But you can look at, the top 6 players, right? We sold almost 500,000 packs, and this includes bonus, right? But my whole point here is like, the top 6 accounts, right? The ones that were able to design these legendary summoners, they accounted for like over 15%, 1-5, right? 15% of the overall presale. You go down to like the top 100, and I think we're close to about 50%, right? I just did rough math on this, but my point still stands, right? You have the top people in the game that are funding the development and trying to push this thing forward. They're willing to spend the money. They like the game. They like the project. They like the stock, right? Whatever meme you want to use. They like it, and therefore they are literally putting their money where their mouth is and supporting the ecosystem from the ground up. Does that make their contributions, does that make their desires and their, needs more important than yours? Kind of. Just being real with you, kind of, right? Like, I don't think that there's anything nefarious. I don't believe that the team is trying to keep minnows out, right? I don't think that they're trying to keep all the plankton and make it difficult for people at the lower tiers. But what they are doing is creating cards, resources, assets that people want to have, and people want to fight over, right? And so therefore, that is the name of the game here. We're going for scarcity. And so this idea that like, everything that the team is creating is for the whales, I think that's the wrong way to look at it, right? Whales are just bidding up the price at this point because, well, they have the ability to do so. And in the past, the whales are the ones that have created the value in this economy. Now, does that make you, with your, I don't know, however much SPS you have, and I don't consider myself a whale. I know some people might look at me and say that I am. I'm not, right? But does that make you or I or anybody else less important in the grand scheme of things? No, that's not what I'm trying to get at here. But when the team is trying to create revenue, when they're trying to find things that they can add to the game, that they can sell, right? Add value to the game that people are willing to pay for, why would they not think about the people that are going to spend, the amount of money that will help get this business and push it forward? Because let's be honest, a lot of the people that are complaining, I mean, I'm not saying that you haven't spent money, right? But I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that are complaining that don't spend a lot of money or refuse to spend a lot of money. I mean, I could be one of those people where I haven't spent a lot of money, purchasing things within the game relatively recently, right? Everything that I'm purchasing is SPS, all right? Every time I purchase things, it's SPS related, rather than, assets that would actually go towards the team. But I could easily make that complaint like, I'm getting priced out of X, Y, and Z. It's just, you know what? At the end of the day, they want to make it for the whales. The whales are going to drive the economy forward. And I kind of alluded to this in a recent video where I was saying like the way that Matt has designed this economy, which I think is awesome, by the way. Okay, so I want to put that out there. Is he's not trying to do it where they're trying to drive all of this value back to the back to the team. Right? Yes, the team needs revenue in order to continue moving, but they want to get this ecosystem flourishing because they have a lot to benefit from the ecosystem flourishing. So it's really like we're all in this boat together. And, just take the promo card proposal, because I think this is a perfect example. You can even go back to the Rebellion proposal, but you go to the current promo card proposal. The team took 600 million, right? DEC, which is roughly worth 600,000, although they're not going to get 600,000 worth of value because DEC is not at peg. So they took that capital, right? They took that from the DAO in order to create promo cards, at which point they're pricing them. And now we have to wait and see, right? This is the important part. We have to wait and see how much DEC is going to get locked up back into the DAO. Because if it ends up being more than 600 million across the, the 5 different events that they have, or the 10 different cards that they're going to put out, if it ends up being more, well, then the team just left money on the table, right? And they benefited the DAO and they benefited the ecosystem by creating these things that people are willing to buy, right? And it's a lot of that value beyond the 600 million is going back into the coffers of the collective community via the SPS DAO. Now, what I was saying in that other video, which I'll reiterate here, is everything that they're doing, whether it's the leaderboard, incentivizing people to kind of, reach a little bit, right, in order to get that extra thing, to be at the top of the leaderboard, to design X, Y, and Z, right, whatever this is, with the Rebellion presale, all of that stuff is to help increase the amount of value that comes back into the ecosystem. Right now it's going into the DAO. But ultimately, what we want to see and what we did see with the Rebellion presale was the activation of the flywheel. We saw actually a good amount of SPS get burned. I mean, there was not much SPS that was burned previously, right, for DEC conversions before the Rebellion presale. And now here we are, about a year later, and there's 60 million SPS, which is not a small amount, right? That's 2% of the overall supply. So if we can continue to burn significant amounts of SPS, right? First burn DEC, then burn SPS, or lock that SPS up, lock that DEC up. That helps the entire ecosystem rise overall. And my big thing is, you know what? I'm never going to be a whale. I'm never going to have every single card. Does that make it difficult for me to be competitive at the highest levels? Absolutely. But does it make it less fun for me? Am I not able to be competitive and earn? No, I've still been able to earn, and I play in, High Diamond Champion in Wild, of all places, right? Not Modern, but in Wild, where there's, a bunch of different metas and cards available. So again, I'm not trying to diminish the arguments that people are making. I think that we just need to reframe it a little bit, because at the end of the day, all of these whales fighting for these leaderboard spots and trying to get as many of these assets as possible is all coming back to us, right? And there's no other ecosystem that works in. Like, you can go to the stock market, and sure, maybe some whales are going to push the price of a stock up, and they'll play their whale games and manipulative things there. But it's not like they're creating value for the entire ecosystem. There's no DAO, right, for the Apple company or the Apple stock or anything like that. And this is a terrible apples to oranges comparison. But if you can just follow my drift here, I'm just trying to get to the point where it's just like, if you believe in the value of the tokens that you have, right, specifically SPS, and what this ecosystem is trying to accomplish, then it doesn't really matter who's making the purchases. Is it impacting your gameplay? Yeah, maybe slightly, right? Does it make you less competitive? I understand that argument. I genuinely do understand that argument. But I realized a long time ago that I didn't need every card to have a good time playing the game. If you want to be super competitive, and this is where I'm going to put a little caveat at the end. If you want to be super competitive, I think what we need to have is more ghost card competitions. And that's something that I've been kind of mulling around in my head. I know I talked about doing a league at some point, and I will, right? And there's other people that are doing tournaments now. But in terms of there being an official thing from the team, I think there's an opportunity there as well to have something that could be ghost card related. But that's when we're talking about true competition. And I don't think this game is at that level yet, right? We haven't turned that corner yet. Although I'm optimistic that with all the changes that we've had, and hopefully with whatever success may come in this next bull run, we can start to push in that direction that we've definitely gotten away from for the past couple of years. But that's my thoughts on this. Just wanted to share it with you guys. Again, I might be wrong. I don't mean to offend anybody. I just see a lot of the criticism being like, the team's only creating stuff for whales. And at the end of the day, they're going to make stuff for the people that are willing to buy, right? You and I, we've had our reservations. There's a lot of people who are very anti Splinterlands and don't want to spend a single penny more, right? And just want to get value. And fine, like, I get it. Like, you're super in the red. But don't stop other people from buying and pumping your backs, right? That's kind of antithetical to what you want. So if the team wants to create things that people want to purchase and have that value go back into the ecosystem, sure, are those players going to have some decent cards, but they paid for them, And ultimately, if that ends up pumping the token, if that ends up putting the game economy in a better place, that ends up increasing your overall SPS rewards or the value of SPS that you get in your rewards, I think all of that is a net positive. But maybe that's just me with the glass half full. I'm very much open to hearing the counter arguments, and I look forward to them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.